Okay, so I'm going to go through a few things that you can be doing in the coming weeks and months. And I'll go through all the different options of where you might be, what to do next, and ideas of how to go forward while we are learning by distance. So, REACH programme, what now? What I'll try and do every week or so is send out different things that you can do if you have extra time. I know you are working really hard for your first year subjects, and that's important. And I'll go through lots of tips. So if you want to, you can pause this, go get yourself a piece of paper and a pen, or you can make notes however suits you. I'm going to go through lots of different things in this as to ways that you can learn, really efficient ways of going about learning from now on, but also thinking about into next year what we would have covered in REACH through to personal statements, etc., etc. So feel free to pause this and get a pen and paper, and I'm going to carry on. So things to do in the coming weeks. It's really important that you are consistently working for your subjects as far as possible. So I'm going to give you some ideas and tips of the way to keep yourself a really exceptional student that you were already becoming. Do your classwork. Enjoy it. This is the kind of learning that will be so impressive. I've said before in REACH lessons that the really excellent, the top universities, the top higher level apprenticeships, like students from Hereford Sixth Form College, because you are self-driven, you are self-motivated. We know that at sixth form, you are the kind of student who goes above and beyond, pushes themselves, even when you get a bad grade, that you really push yourself to do better. This is the same and even more so now. This is independent learning. This is what we have been training you for. You haven't been with us for 2 years yet, but already we've been showing you how to do directed learning, how to learn in your own time, how to use your study periods, how to use your directed time really efficiently. And actually that's what you are suddenly doing all the time. So that's a huge step. It's a huge step, but one we were getting you into already. And that's exactly what university is like. University, yes, you'll have lectures, as we've discussed in REACH. Yes, you'll have seminars. You might have tutorials as well. But actually, a lot of your time at university is exactly what you're doing now, really self-motivated. And really throw yourself into your subjects. This is the time when you can really discover what you love about your subjects. Don't be afraid to push yourself to do the hard things as well. I would imagine there are really challenging things in chemistry or history or English literature that you struggle with. Don't shy away from the challenge. Push yourself to understand things. So that's really it. Push yourself, get close to the things you struggle with. Push yourself to really fall in love with your subjects while you're working like this on your own. We'll never have this much time again to focus upon your subjects with very few distractions. You know, we can't go out and socialise. We can't go out and do loads of different things. So actually, this is really time gifted to you to push yourself to enjoy your subjects. This is the time when you are going to become the student that you're going to go into in your second year and you're going to go on to at university and beyond in your workplace. So this could be really foundational. So show yourself how much you enjoy your subjects, what kind of student you're going to be, and it is worth it. Okay, secondly, keep a log that is detailed. So, for example, keep a logbook, either an electronic one, or you could use your impact portal, although you're putting a lot on there. Or you could keep a note somewhere, however suits. So, for example, use the VLE to listen to recordings of Measure for Measure in Vicky's homework folder. So if you're an English literature student, as if you might be one of my students, an English literature VLE, right at the top, there's a place called Homework. I put all my lesson recordings in there. Or, so for example, 1 hour and Act 4. Or I used Philosophy Ninja YouTube channel to do philosophy and ethics work on Kantian ethics. And then write about what you found interesting about it. Fascinating when considering the problem of evil. You could then say, went on to look at Peter Vardy on Google Books, the problem of evil, Peter Vardy's The Problem of Evil, or whatever it is, balancing equations in chemistry, looked at a YouTube channel, watched a YouTube channel for maths, looked at whatever subject it is. Find something that's academic if you can, so something from the VLE, and then write about what you found interesting about it. Really engage with that learning. Or say, for example, really struggled with this particular balancing of equations that I was doing for chemistry, or I was really struggling with the kind of nucleic development of, I don't know, biology. So I'm going to come back to that tomorrow. It's that kind of thinking that universities will really love. So get really close to your subjects and push yourself to find ways, looked at the textbook, went on to Google Books. You won't be able to necessarily get the whole of the book on Google Books, but it's really, really good just to look at bits. Of course, we've got the wealth of resources that the library provides. Go onto the VLE library, and not only can you get lots and lots of resources from the library, but also you can look at all the Philip Allen reviews. So, for example, the law review, the English review, the media review, the philosophy. So there are biology for review. The VLE, really, you could even spend half a day just familiarising yourself with the VLE library page, because all of the resources that we as a college pay for provide you with exactly the kind of electronic resources you would have at university level. So there's a wealth of resource on the VLE for you to use. So definitely worth doing that. I know, for example, there's Digital Theatre Plus for drama or English. There's also Massalit for classics, for history, for English literature, so Massalit. The English review, the law review, so many opportunities. So we as a college fund those. You don't have to physically be in the library to access those. So definitely explore that. And then think about what you're learning from those. Read something on Google Books and write about what you found challenging, how it helped you understand that piece of art that you've been critiquing, or that bit of sociology you've been learning, or that bit of maths about, imaginary numbers that you've been looking at. So really push yourself to find resources. We are in a time, we have never had such resources at our fingertips. Of course, we need to be cautious when using YouTube. We need to make sure that we are using academic and credible sources, but watch things, read things with that critical thinking hat on. Do we accept it just because someone said they have a PhD and they're on YouTube? Not necessarily. We look at the evidence they're giving us. Is it good quality evidence? Is it something our teacher would appreciate, would see as valid? Are we thinking as we watch that YouTube on the maths learning you've been doing? Are we thinking about that philosophy and ethics? Are we thinking about, is this correct on Tsarist Russia? So use your brain, but use the resources that are available to you. The library is amazing. The VLE is amazing. Really think about those. Number 3, get ready for year 2 where you can. As I said, never has there been a time, so many resources, VLE, YouTube, textbook, lectures, online journals, Massalit, access those things. Get ready for year 2. For example, I would encourage the students, because I know English literature very well, obviously, to look at what's going to be in year 2. Teach yourself Measure for Measure. Measure for Measure by Shakespeare is available in full online. The play. Teach yourself Measure for Measure by using the VLE. Really don't be afraid to push yourself now. Get ahead, because don't waste this time. This is such an opportunity. Fabulous. Good. Number 4, such a useful one. Find out your exam board, AQA, Edexcel, OCR, whatever it is, and look at your specification online. Look at the teacher's guide. So what should you be learning at what point when? That is unbelievably useful. Every single teacher who teaches you will use those. I use online the examiner's report from last summer. I look at what the examiner said about last year's students, where they did well in their law paper, in their politics paper, what they did brilliantly in the maths A-level, what they did badly in that maths A-level. Was it a particular 10-mark question in chemistry that all the students couldn't do? So really look at the examiner's feedback on last year's exam cycle. Look at past papers, mark schemes. Really good idea. Do a past paper and then mark yourself. Or look at the mark scheme for your history paper. Let's imagine you're doing, for example, Renaissance England, Henry VIII, Elizabeth I, etc. Look at the past paper, look at the mark scheme. Once you've looked at the mark scheme of what makes a perfect history essay, then do the essay and see if you can get full marks. That is an incredibly useful thing to do. Look at the full marks response for your physics paper, look at the mark scheme, and then do the question and get full marks for it. And that will show you how to get those A's and A stars. What an amazing way of learning. So if we always think, I always think about in kind of sporting metaphors, but if you said, right, I'm going to teach you to do high jump today, you would want to know, well, how high is the bar going to be? If you look at a mark scheme, you can say, okay, so that's the bar, right? That's how you to do a level 5. That's how you get an A star response. That's how you get a really astonishing response. Okay, I'm going to write that response. I'm going to write that 10 mark with the right terminology in chemistry. I'm going to write the use. I'm going to write the absolute, really good use of the cosmological teleological argument in philosophy and ethics. I know what now what I'm going to have to do to get an A star. I'm going to write myself an A star answer, and do that sometimes, and then sometimes have a go at it first. Make the mistakes, and then mark yourself. Don't be afraid to look at standardization material. So, for example, a lot of exam boards will put up on their websites past student examples, what we might call exemplars, that you can have a look at. Look at what students did well, look at what students who did badly, and learn from them. Learn from those. Your exam board specification website is so useful. I cannot stress that enough. And I would normally suggest that to my second years, but this is one of the ways that you become one of those really high achievers. So as I said, chief examiner's feedbacks. Do past papers, do them, and swap with a study buddy. Take a photo of your work, time yourself. Okay, so a friend in your class, you WhatsApp them or you Snapchat or use whatever social media. You say, right, let's both do this exam paper, and then take a photo of our responses and swap. Oh, well, you did better on this. Or you did really brilliantly on this. Or, oh, I did slightly better on this. Or my music here, my counterpoint was, my counterpoint here was better than yours, but this was better in yours. Or your modulation was better in this. So really look and learn from one another. You'll have different skills. Oh, my terminology here, or my sentence structure was excellent. My flow between paragraphs, the argument I was having in my history essay was really clear. Whereas actually your use of evidence was better here, your use of the sources. And learn from one another. That's what you do. You read one another's, you have a voice conversation, get together with a study buddy. And then say, okay, so whose was probably a little bit better, mine was better at this, and then mark one another's. Number 6, your classmates are a huge resource. Imagine you are with them for 4 hours a week, sitting, right, read this, discuss this, learn about this. Okay, use the textbook to do this. Right, you've got this homework for tomorrow. I would assume that you're really good at working together in your directed time already. You should be in a virtual study group, get together on Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever platform you want, swap study notes. Very, very useful. Use technology as a force for good, Good. The good thing is, this isn't going to disadvantage you because everyone is in the same boat. Every student in their first year of sixth form college, sixth form school is going to be on the same boat. So don't overly worry. Don't burn yourself out. But steadily work on your subjects, enjoying this space you have to do them. Everyone's going to be in the same boat, but actually the decisions you make now, even in this period of uncertainty, work a little bit and rest, relax, keep yourself healthy. Don't work too hard. And that's the other thing I think is really useful to acknowledge. If you are the kind of person who works all the time and doesn't have a really good sense of balance, like actually no, I'm going to stop, going to do like Joe Wick's PE, which is what I'm doing every morning with my children. So at the moment you're not really secure on finding some good time to get some adrenaline out, get a bit of activity in your sitting room or on the floor of your bedroom, or do some yoga, whatever it is, mindfulness, whatever you need to do, find balance. And we're allowed out once a day, so if you can, take the dog out for a walk, go for one run a day. Otherwise, do workout DVD in your sitting room like I do with my kids. Don't burn out and don't overly work. This is something I think is really important. Is there any logical reason that you're doing badly? If you're working steadily away at the work you're given and really pushing yourself a little bit to be a good student through this time, we're not just spending our time on social media worrying or getting too anxious. And again, allowing yourself to have a break if you're not well, or if someone around you you've got other things on. For example, if you're in a farming family, you've got lambing on, that's fine. That's fine. Do a little bit when you can, but I mean this really seriously. Sometimes we're on a spectrum of working all the time, and sometimes we might not work enough. Be clear about where you are. If you know your tendency is to worry and work all the time, then dial it down. Get some exercise, look out the window, breathe some fresh air, and make sure you are really clear with yourself. Do I need to do this? Am I doing fine already? Yes. And if you know that you tend to be a little bit lax and you tend to be a little bit too relaxed, then yes, you need to make sure you consistently work each day. So be aware of where you are on that kind of linear spectrum of too much work, but are you overworking? Or you might be on the other end of knowing you need to gradually chalk away every day and push yourself because you're naturally just a little bit lazy. Quite normal, okay? And again, if you take a week off, if you take 2 weeks off, if you're not well, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. You could well be in college anytime, any year, and have a patch when you're not feeling well or something. So would you miss out? No. Would that be a huge barrier to your learning? Absolutely not. So everyone is in the same boat now. And we will make sure that when you write your references, we can personalise it to your situation as well. We've looked at references in Reach lessons, and that's the kind of thing we make sure absolutely is right before you were to apply for university or a job or an apprenticeship. We would make sure that your reference was really clear on your situation. So if things have been really challenging, we will meet up and we can chat about that just as we would have done otherwise. The reason why the top universities like us is because we are self-motivated and you are the students who choose to work. That won't change. The universities are still to know that about you. Okay, so from about May onwards, there's no rush on this, but you might want to start filling out your UCAS form, your University Central Admissions Service form. You had careers lessons in E4L. If you missed those for any reason, you can email Serena Smith, TAS, as she can send you the buzzword to link your UCAS form to the college. And that means that we can see your UCAS form, we can check it, we can add your predicted grades in September, we can add your reference, and we can check that you've put everything on there right and really make sure that it's beautifully put together, everything's right, all your qualifications are apt, just because it's easy to make mistakes because it's quite a complicated form. So if you missed your careers lessons, email Tarina as she can send you the buzzword and a form of how to make a start on it and what you can do to link your form to us. So I would suggest you fill out a UCAS even if you are also going for a higher level apprenticeship, a degree apprenticeship, because degree apprenticeships are very, very competitive, very competitive indeed. And there are a lot of applications per place. So we would suggest that you also go through UCAS as well. Fill out a UCAS form even if you are deferring, which means you want to take a gap year. Even if now you think, I'm not quite sure I'm going to be ready to go off to university, I would say fill out a form because there's actually a box that you click to say, I'm going to defer. That means you're saying to your universities that you applied to, I would like to come and do medicine at your universities. I would like to come and do history, classics at this university, but I want to take a gap year first. And the universities will be absolutely fine with that. Many years ago, universities used to not like gap years, and there used to be a lot of issues or perceived issues with taking gap year. The only course now that doesn't always like it is maths. So if you were to do maths at university. But having said that, I've got a student who's currently on a gap year who's going to go off and do maths at a Russell Group University next year. So it's not a game changer. If you know you want another year to get your head straight, get yourself sorted, that's not a problem. I would say apply with a deferred entry. So that's really important. Don't feel that you have to go straight from sixth form when we're going to have a very busy year next year. We still have to get through all the content of the second year. And don't feel that you will have to go straight off to university if it doesn't suit you. If you want to earn money for a year, for example, a student of mine again who's applied to medicine is taking a gap year Again, does he have to do a kind of medicine-based gap year? Nope, he's just working to earn some money. Not a problem at all. So I'd say fill it out, even if you think you might defer. And you can always defer now and put it on your form, or we can always call your universities later next year and say, actually, I want to take a gap year, and the universities are fine with that. So on your UCAS, which is a very official form, and it's really worth getting it right, you put on your personal information and make sure you put nominated access on there, because it means that, let's imagine you next summer, hard to think even but beyond the next week, but next summer, when you get your A-level results, let's imagine you were going travelling by then and everything, this current scenario is over. Nominated access means that UCAS would be willing to email that other person as well as you. If you don't put nominated access, no one else would be able to deal with UCAS on the event of them having any queries. So good idea to have nominated access. Put your personal information on correct, including your date of birth. You wouldn't believe the number of students who say they were born 40 years ago, put the wrong date of birth or things like that. Your previous school and the qualifications you already have. This is a really key one. So qualifications you've already got will mainly be level 2 unless you have done A-levels. So really, if you did some interesting ones, BTECs and things, make sure you put the right level. They are notoriously challenging. We will check these when we check over the UCAS forms in September. So don't worry if you're not absolutely sure. But if you can, make sure you put in the right qualifications. So it's tricksy, very tricksy, but we will check them. We don't let you go off with the wrong qualifications. But you definitely don't want to say that you have done 4 A-levels already in BTECs in design and technology or information technology. You want to make sure that they were level 2 GCSE level. So just put those in as accurately as you can. If you have any queries about qualifications, you can email Anne in Careers, who is a guru of qualifications, and she does our qualifications check when you hand your form in next year. So she is AEH at Hereford, aeh@hereford.ac.uk. So if you have queries about quals, you can email Anne. You also have a personal statement, basically a kind of sell yourself statement about yourself, why you want to do your chosen courses. And that's important. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And you will also have predicted grades from your teachers. And we've had a look at those before, but those will be really honest and kind. We say lovely things about you. And so that's the most important thing. We will write that about you and what kind of things you've done to show yourself, the way you did HE Plus and then you really enjoyed something about it, or the fact that while you were distance learning, you really enjoyed using the textbook, or you went about pushing yourself to do some Masalit, and that's the kind of thing we will write about you. You get predicted grades and reference. And there's lots else besides. Work your way slowly through that. There's no rush. You only have to complete that by the time you submit. So why is your UCAS important? Your UCAS goes off to your universities. So for medicine, veterinary medicine, it's fewer than 5, but for most people, they choose 5 universities. And they all read the same form. They may not meet you unless they interview you. So what we want to make sure that you show them the best bits about you. And in the coming weeks, I'll send you more about personal statements. So really, we're going to do broad brushstrokes today about personal statements. But there is loads and loads of support for all of the stuff I'm talking about, UCAS, personal statements, on the UCAS website. It's amazing. Made for students, much better than this one. So definitely worth checking out the UCAS website, because it's so useful and has information on all kinds of different things that will help you. It's like a paper interview. Personal statement is a maximum of 47 lines and about 4,000 characters. And that includes spaces, full stops, everything. It's about, 2/3 of a page. It's about 2/3 of a page of A4. You want it to be about you, so ignore anyone else's. and there's no perfect way of doing a personal statement. I wouldn't look at anything else other than either the university you're looking at, so they might have some support for personal statements, or UCAS itself. I would not read or watch any student-based, this is how to do a good UCAS, or this is how to do a UCAS for Oxford, or this is how to write a personal statement for medicine, unless it is from a university. Lots of students may well have gone through the process, and they might seem to be experts in the subject, but actually the experts in the subject of personal statements are the universities, because they read them for a living, and UCAS, because that is what they do. So be really cautious about going to a student who says, right, this is how to write the perfect personal statement, because it defies the object. It should be yours. You'll want to complete about 3 to 6 drafts, and it must be accurate. We need to make sure that we don't have spelling or grammar errors, and we need to make sure we get that right, because that won't, if we've forgotten our capital I's, or if we don't use formal English, we might not get the offers we want. In September, you will return and have your personal statement checked. Don't worry about this at all, and we'll sort this out when we know more. So there's no rush on this. We'll sort these dates. I will text you, email you, you'll know when these are. What we tend to do, and if this works, we'll do the same. We will book all the computer rooms at the college for 2 Wednesday afternoons in a row. And the careers teams, the head of departments come to check over personal statements. We'll consider the deadline, but we don't know in this period of uncertainty when the deadline would be. Normally, early applicants, so Oxford, Cambridge, medicine, veterinary medicine and dentists, would finish their UCAS by mid to late September, so that we've got enough time to check them. But at this stage, we're not sure on the dates, so don't worry about that. We check every statement thoroughly. We will support you, and that won't change. As I said, we don't know about dates at this stage, so have a go at doing personal statements. During the spring and summer term, work for your subjects, log what you do in a diary or on Impact. Do extra work for your subjects if you aren't doing well, and if you're a workaholic and you don't know when to stop, find balance. Stop work, rest, breathe air. Read around your subjects, do more of your subjects, do more research that you're enjoying. Tell your teachers that you are considering being an early applicant. Even if it's just an email and they don't have the time to respond for a little while, it's worth them just knowing, so that they can think, yes, I'll be tailoring that reference to someone who's really pushing themselves, or perhaps I'll be giving you some ideas of where you can go to get extension activities, or find really good YouTube or VLE pages or textbooks that you can get. They also won't know which subject is of most interest to you. If you're doing, for example, English, history and drama, you might be interested in law, and we might not know. So definitely say, I'm doing English, history and drama, but I'm really interested in doing law at university, or I'm doing English, history and classics, and actually I'm really interested in archaeology and anthropology at university. There's no rush at this point. We'll be able to sort things out in September if you are at all concerned. And some people decide what they're going to do literally the day before the deadline, and they tweak their personal statement. I had a student a couple of years ago who was completely assured he was going to do natural sciences, and he was applying for Cambridge. I read his personal statement and said, hang on a second, you really like rocks. You're just talking about fascination with rock formations and geological formations. And I said, I think you should be doing earth sciences. And he tweaked his personal statement, tweaked it just to kind of make it slightly refocused. But actually that was his interest, and changed his course just before he submitted it. That's no problem. Not a problem at all. Write a draft or 2 in the next couple of months, and then we can check it in September. Why on earth should you do all this? So, good things. If we do this now and we kind of gradually work our way through our UCAS form, it will be done early. It will be done by late September. Even if you decide not to go for early application, so you decide to go off to another world-class university, one of the other amazing universities in the country, they're just exceptional, globally impressive. It's all ready, and you can go through the process in November, December without having to stress then. So actually, if you get it done now, It'll be done and sitting there ready for you if you decide to go for, Bristol, Birmingham, Durham, Queen Mary, Northern Ireland. There are just so many amazing universities that you can choose. And you think, actually, I'm not sure I want to go for Oxford. I'm not sure I want to go for Cambridge. I'm not sure I want to go for medicine. That's not a problem at all. It would all be ready, but done and dusted, so you just submit it November, December. What a bonus. Or alternatively, you decide in September, yes, I'm going to push myself, I'm going to have a go. I love my subject. I'm going to go for Oxford, Cambridge, medicine, veterinary medicine, dentistry. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, have a go. It's all done. It's all done. It is tough. It is tough. It's a gruelling process to go through early application. You have to get things in early. We have admissions tests, so they're like an A-level that we do in November. And there are likely interviews, but it's not terrible. And it means that they really will meet you. They think about your form in great detail. They really think, is this student someone who will really enjoy medicine or Oxford or Cambridge? And if the answer is yes, and then they interview you, and then they think you've really got a flexible mind, you enjoy working for yourself, you are driven, you love your subject, you can throw yourself into your subject for 3 years, you enjoy dialoguing about it, and the answer is yes, they might well offer you a place. And if you don't go through it, if you do go through it and you don't get a place, when you go for jobs, you will already have done a job interview. You will have had an interview. You would have gone through a grueling process. Are job interviews tough for the rest of your life? Yeah, they're amazingly exciting, so enjoyable. Going for new jobs is so exciting, opportunities, possibilities. It is tough, but often that can lead to a new job. So the skills you will learn applying to competitive universities will be useful for the rest of your life. When you go out into the workplace, when you go for apprenticeships, when you go for postgraduate level training, all that stuff. Those skills are what we think about. We know exactly what will happen when. Obviously, this year is a little bit different, but we know when the admissions tests are in November, and there's deadlines. The deadlines for next year should be pretty set, and it means that actually it'll be out of the way early in the year. Things to note. It will be stressful. And at the moment, you're in a really stressful place. Things are uncertain, but you are quite normal to be a little bit worried. That's quite okay. We're in a period of real uncertainty. We as teachers are, so I imagine you are too. And so don't worry about not knowing, being a little bit confused. We're in the same boat too, so well done to all of us for managing. And when we go into second year, it'll be a little bit stressful to get your UCAS in and your personal statement in. But as I said, then you can think, okay, that's done. My admissions test, if I have one, are done. I can get on with learning my subject and really push myself for those good grades. Having said that, you can always decide to step back. The day before the deadline, you could say, actually, I'm not ready for this. That's not a problem too. It's always a bit of a lottery about who gets a place, because the top universities are choosing between excellent students, but you might be the most exciting candidate they have met. You might be the most interesting mind they have read about in a personal statement. So don't talk yourself down in your mind. You are already a really excellent student. You already love your subjects. Those top universities might well be privileged to have you study there. There's something called a winter pool, which means if you get rejected from Cambridge, they have then a discussion in January about the students who were really, really close to getting an offer. They were so amazing, they nearly got an offer, and then they might offer you an offer in January. What if you don't get an offer from medicine, dentistry, veterinary medicine, Oxford or Cambridge, but you still want to go? Not a problem. Take a gap year. The last round of Oxbridge applications, we had 6 students who were on gap years who reapplied. For whatever reason, they thought, actually, I've got the grades. I really would still like to go to Oxford or Cambridge, or I've taken my gap year, I've got my grades for medicine, I still want to go back into medicine. Brilliant. Not a problem at all. We support, as a college, we support ex-students who want to go through the process of applying on their gap year. Not a problem. The door is not closed at all. We support you just as you would have had support in your second year, even if you've left and gone on to art college, do an art foundation course, or you're working for a year. Not a problem at all. So let's imagine you don't get an offer and you've got some other offers from great universities, but something calls out in you and you think, no, I really do still want to have a go at Cambridge or Oxford. Not a problem at all. So the door is never closed. So don't worry about that at all. Some ideas. Massive open online courses. Have a go at How to Succeed in Your EPQ from the University of Bath. That's a Future Learn course. Or another one might be the Logical and Critical Thinking from the University of Auckland. Very important. When you do these, don't pay for the certificate. You don't need to pay for them. The critical thinking course is really interesting if you're looking at doing a course where you'll need to do a TSA or another kind of critical thinking test. So definitely worth doing some of those Future Learn courses. And so those would be very, very useful. And again, if you're considering doing an EPQ next year, an extended project qualification, which is half an A-level. And we have talked about this in Reach. But if you're doing 3 A-levels, an EPQ is an extra half. And it does show supercurricular skills. It shows you've studied something that you chose in a bit more detail. And you can take that up when you return in September. Logical and critical thinking is really useful. You can do Future Learn courses. There are lots of different. So if you just Google MOOCs, you'll find lots of different MOOCs in critical thinking. But be savvy. Do these in the most efficient way. Don't waste money on upgrading the course. Don't waste time on introducing yourself or the comments or online discussions. Not unless you've got loads of extra time on your hands, which you probably haven't because you're, trying to find balance between all the different things. So just do the course. The EPQ course is available for 4 weeks and the critical thinking one for 8 weeks. But think of each week as a couple of hours. Does that make sense? So you could just spend a day doing the critical thinking course. You can either do it over a period of weeks, absolutely fine, or you could just sit and do it in a day. Whatever suits you. So, final thoughts. In the coming weeks, have a go at Google Future Learn Critical Thinking. And Future Learn has some really interesting online courses. Go back to earlier and make sure you've got all those tips of how to learn well. Use your study buddies. Use the resources available in the library, on the VLE. Do the work your teachers have set. Find balance. Don't beat yourself up if you can't work for a week or so. That is no problem. Absolutely no problem. So many things are uncertain. Be the student you can be, but that means if things go awry, not a problem at all. If other things in your life are getting busy and you're not able to work as well or as efficiently as you might have wanted to, that is not a problem. We will make sure when we send off your UCAS form that your reference is tailored to you. We make sure that any circumstances that you've gone through are in there and we'll make sure those are absolutely tailored for each student. So don't worry at all about that. If you want to, you can always email me, vjo@hereford.ac.uk, with a little bit of information about your circumstances. It may take me a little bit of time to reply if I'm having quite a lot of communication with my English students or the universities at that point, but that's not a problem. I can log that and make sure that that's something we can include, not a problem at all. And as I said, for example, if you've got a family where you're doing other things or you can't work at the moment, not a problem at all. And again, if you are a workaholic, make sure you find balance. Is there any logical reason that you are going to do badly? Probably not. So you go back to those tips. Give yourself a break, rest, find balance in your day, and perhaps even keep to the kind of timetable you might use if you were at college. I think that's something that I found really useful when I was on study leave for my A-levels. I kept to the timetable that was actually my college timetable. So I did revision for theology, as it was then for an hour, revision for history, revision for English literature, revision for music, provision for critical thinking. And so I set my timetable out as I would have done on a normal college day. And if that's the routine you need, routines are really useful. I find, for example, at the moment I'm at home balancing having my kids with me and doing my work. If I can say to my children that I'm going to work from 9:30 until 12 every day, and then I'll have them for the rest of the day, that really helps us find balance and structure. So keep yourself to a routine Monday to Friday. And that's the way that you'll just consistently will get through this patch of such extraordinary challenge. But you are going to be amazing students from this. So well done, well done. And I'm going to send out another film of personal statements either this week or next week to give you some ideas about personal statements. But like I said, as I've said before earlier in this, there are some really amazing resources from the universities, but most importantly from UCAS themselves. Also, of course, you've got UniFrog. Your parents also have access to UniFrog if they want to as well. So for now, that should give you a little bit to be going on with. Well done.